Hey guys, Billie Jenkins here with Silver Creek Doodles. Today's video is going to be about Rylie having her babies. You know, she was bred to Mac, but grab your coffee because it's going to be an interesting one. So Rylie is our 24-ish, 25-pound mini Goldendoodle, so she's on the smaller side, so she's right in the middle of a mini size. But I will say, so she was bred to Mac. So last time she was bred to Leroy, and she had the 4 puppies. This time we saw 4 on the ultrasound. So we were, you know, thinking that she'd have 4, 5, 6. She had gotten so chunky and so big this last week. I'm thinking, my goodness, maybe she has 6 or 7, you know, for her size. But when the first puppy started coming and I could kind of see what we were going to be dealing with, then I definitely knew that she didn't have that many puppies. So when a mama first starts, you know, pushing and going into labor, usually when contractions start, we need puppies pretty quick. We need puppies within 10 to 15 minutes. Now, if you can see the bulging part, so under the tail is obviously the rectum, and then under the rectum, which is above the vulva, is where, that's like the birth canal area. So the birth canal is inside, but that's where you can start seeing if something is passing the birth canal. And it will start bulging when something is coming there. And sometimes they'll push and push, it'll bulge, and then they'll stop, and it'll kind of suck back up in there. Well, we had a lot of that going on because these puppies were big. So we had 2 boys and 2 girls. At this point, you know, as we can see, and you'll see on this video, we really struggled with the 2 boys because they're larger. So if you don't want to watch this whole video, because it's not really the fun sliding out, you know, easy peasy birthing. We had some issues. We got in the car to, you know, head to the emergency room for a C-section. You know, we had all of this stuff. Thankfully, she had them all on her own. She is a trooper. But I will say, like I said before, grab your coffee because we're gonna go ahead and start the videos and kind of stop and explain, you know, what it all means. So at 9:33, I took this video right here. So this is her pushing. Now she had been nesting and doing all kinds of stuff, was showing that she was gonna be starting labor like all day. It had been, and even the night before. So she was tired, you know, when they're nesting and panting and, you know, up and down and doing all the moving around, they can get really exhausted. But you can see here, she is pushing. You can see I've got the camera set up. So one thing I will say is we do have multiple litters right now. We never usually run more than 3 cameras at a time. Well, we already have 4 going. And then this is our number 5 that we needed. And we didn't have it. Well, we did have a camera, but when we got it out of the drawer and plugged it up, it was brand new. Pulled the seal off of the, you know, the front of the glass. We cannot get it to work. So what I did is I went ahead and sent Nest, you know, the Nest camera an email, gonna try to get a camera working. But then again, we're gonna have our Labradoodle litter leaving in just a few days, so we'll be able to steal that camera too. So, you know, I do hate we didn't have the live feed. I apologize to my families on my wait list because I usually give that to them. Now it was the middle of the night. We weren't exactly always in the whelping box, you know, we're in that pool like we normally are. So it kind of, they are gonna get more out of the videos in my phone and what I'm putting together now anyways. So I do apologize for not having that camera on, and we'll have it in just a couple days, but please watch this video. If you're interested in breeding, know that things like this can happen. Like I've been breeding for 11 years. I was a vet tech for so long, so I'm not nervous to glove up and, you know, stick my finger in there, see what's going on, because I know that's what the vet would do, and to see what problems we might be having. So this is why we were gonna head to the vet, but let me go ahead and show you. Here she is again. She's pushing, you know, she's doing all that she can. My goodness, I hated it for her that she was not getting any progress out of this. So what we did, she started pushing at 9:33 is when I took the first video. And then by the time that, you know, I thought, you know what, maybe, you know, when she has started labor a little bit early, maybe we just gotta let her, as long as it's not stuck. So what happened is the head would come through, and then when she would stop pushing, it would suck back in. So if the head was staying there, then the puppy's stuck. We've got to get something going because that puppy could suffocate. But that wasn't the issue. It's just it couldn't come past its shoulder. So nothing was stuck, but it just couldn't come further. So what I did after an hour and 15 minutes, of pushing and knowing that nothing else would happen, I went ahead, put a spot for her in my floorboard of the passenger seat. My husband was gonna stay here with the dogs and all the other puppies that we have, because we already had all the afternoon stuff done, but we hated to be gone so long with everything else. So I told him just to stay here. I was gonna take her and just run her up to Hendersonville. So I made a phone call, you know, to Hendersonville, telling them, you know, to Western, where we've taken our puppies with the broke leg. And they told me that they were happy to take me if I needed a C-section, but they had 2 parvo puppies in house. I'm like, no, I don't want to come there. But of course, it's a fine line. So I said, well, if you're the only option that I have, you know, because we don't have a lot of options around here. If you're the only option that I have, then I'm going to go ahead and come up there, and we're just going to go like straight into the surgical room and just, you know, try to do what we can. But they did let me know about a hospital that's 20 minutes further. So they're like 38 minutes from me. There was another vet that was like 56. You know, that was a little bit further. So I thought, okay, so I called them up. The doctor was so nice, got on the phone with me, was talking with me, and, you know, telling me, yeah, come on, let's go ahead, you know, drive safe. You know, thankfully, he was so nice, so nice. I haven't met them before. But got her in the floorboard, hit the road. I wasn't probably 2 miles down the road, and I heard, so I turned my phone light on and look over there, and he is sticking out. So his front half was hanging out of her, and she was licking. Hallelujah. So here's a video of that. Well, first puppy is out and looks like he's doing all right. We're not far from the house. So let me go ahead and turn around and get back home. And hopefully he's our biggest puppy. Good job, Miss Riley. Good girl. But I was thinking once I got him out, you know what? Good golly, he was huge, but I hope he's the biggest, like I said in the video. So went ahead and turned around, got back home. I got his face all cleaned off so we knew that he wouldn't be sucking anything in. I don't know if you can hear the babies. You know, so they were, you know, so his airway was clean. Got back home, got her, you know, put in her pen here, and then I'll go ahead and start with our normal video of once I put her in and getting them all cleaned up. All right, so here he is. I'm showing him off. He looks just like Mac. It's crazy. I can't tell if he's curly or just a wavy. You know, his back looks a little curly, but you know, the top of his head is pretty straight, which is what normally our wavy puppies look like. But we'll be able to tell in a few days. But went ahead and, you know, clipped off the extra umbilical cord, what was hanging, because it did tear from inside of her. The rest of it was still in there, so just cut that off, because if the umbilical cord that is cut is still too long, she'll try to mess with it, which can cause umbilical hernia, something that we definitely do not want. First puppy is a gorgeous tuxedo boy. My goodness, look at the markings. We are so grateful for Mr. Mac. He has allowed us to produce these gorgeous white socks all the way up to the chest. Hold on. And look at that face. I am so excited. Thank you, Miss Riley. You're a good girl. We got a big story tomorrow to tell everybody. So go ahead and take another sip, because we got another fun story. So now we've got our second puppy. So, you know, she had been pushing, but she actually was standing up and like getting out of the pool, and she just was super agitated. And then she was kind of asking to go outside. So we were right by the door. We're in the plant room, but we were right by the door of where her fenced off area is. So I opened the door, let her out. She went out there. I come in and cleaned up her area, you know, got the baby that made it, thank goodness. Got the baby mate, just checked him out and stuff. Well, then when I opened the door and looked, she's got a baby hanging out. So I have my phone and put it on record, and here's what it is. So I went over to her, and I got a pee pad before I came out, and then of course I had to put the phone down here so you can't see it. But I went ahead, and since I had a glove on, and got the puppy pulled out. Thankfully this puppy is much smaller than our first boy. But went ahead and, you know, got her airway clean and just wanted to, you know, keep her in the position of her head down so any of that fluid could just go out. But she is gorgeous too. She doesn't have that tall sock like on her one leg. She has her normal kind of mitten on the other, but super happy. So went ahead, left Mama outside, came back in, put her in the pool with her brother. Got my other glove on so I could handle her without worrying about my hands getting too dirty. And then just went ahead and cut her umbilical cord since she was breathing so good. I was gonna get her all dried up and cleaned up, then let Mom in so, you know, she could get to nursing these babies. All right, so Mom's making her way back inside. So her back end is pretty wet and stuff. So gonna go ahead and, you know, get that all dried off for her. So her puppies are gonna stay as clean as they can too. So we try to dry everything and clean everything as much as we can. She did have her tail wrap on, but since she was so agitated, you know, up and down and moving, she actually pulled it off twice. So I thought, you know what, we'll just keep it off. I mean, it's just, I don't want to stress her out with doing that. Look at the size difference of these babies. So the one on the left is our first puppy that was so huge that could hardly make his way out. So grateful. Thank the Lord that he was able to make it out on his own. But, you know, like we got in the car, we were ready to head up and get a C-section if we had to. But I'm super glad that we didn't. Both puppies are sucking, which makes me super happy that everybody is seeming to be healthy. So our second puppy is a tuxedo female, quite a bit smaller than the first male, thankfully. No issues with her. She has one full sock and then, of course, a sock on the other side. Oh my goodness, they are just so cute. Good job, Riley. All right, so now we're on the third puppy. Gonna say go ahead and get your coffee again. You might have to go warm it up, but here's another story. So she was doing the same thing as before, pushing. You could see, you know, some bulging. So I did go ahead and glove up, put a little bit of lube on my fingers and felt in there, and I could feel a tail. So I'm like, oh darn. So not that it's bad that feet come first, but it's a little different. You can't, not that you can pull the head, but you know, legs and tail, you can't just grab a hold and pull. You have to be careful. You know, you can help pull when she's pushing, but definitely not pull on that when she's not doing anything, because we've got pressure that we don't want. So the biggest thing too that I want to show you is that once we glove up and we kind of get a hold and kind of help her pull and stuff like that, and she's getting it a little bit further. So when the puppy does come so far out, this is another thing that I do want to express, that you have to be so careful. So the biggest thing, and what my worry too was, when the puppy is coming out, either head first or feet first, and you've got that umbilical cord, it usually it doesn't come before the puppy, it comes after. It's what comes behind it. Well, sometimes if the puppy is too big, or if it could be kind of wrapped up in there, you don't want it to pull on that umbilical cord. So another thing, just like I said with cutting the umbilical cord on the shorter side, you want to make sure too that you don't have the puppy coming out and you're trying to pull the puppy and it's pulling on that umbilical cord, because this one, and you can see as I'm editing this video, and last night I was like, oh my goodness, like I was so cautious that when his back end, his back half was out, I couldn't keep pulling without going up underneath of him, feeling across his belly and grabbing the umbilical cord that's attached to the placenta and pulling that. So we didn't want to pull the body that also had the umbilical cord and the placenta still up in Mom, because it could have tore his belly open, you know, because their skin is so fragile right now. So I know it's hard to kind of understand if you don't have your hands and you're not here and you can't feel, but just know that when the puppy is coming out and you see me kind of sticking my fingers up in there, I'm going along the belly and kind of, you know, doing like this to get that umbilical cord so I can grab a hold of it, so when I pull, it's not pulling on his belly. I've got the tension. Third pup is a very dark tuxedo boy. Our normal tuxedo with all 4 mittens, face and chest and tail. Not tall socks like his siblings so far, but he's very dark. So finally, she's pushing again. I can see the bulge. You know, I'm sitting across the room from her on a couch, just kind of checking her out. I don't want it to be too, you know, overwhelming watching over her, but I'm there for her. You know, I want to help her, and if there's anything, just like with the other puppy, she needs some help. So I'm here for her, but thankfully she did this one on her own. So our 4th puppy is a very pretty marked party. We've got both eyes and that ear for sure. Of course, we'll have to wait a little bit longer if that ear is going to be covered. Then we've got a few spots back here. Of course, she will darken. It's a little girl as she gets older, but she's perfect. All right, so finishing out this video. So we had a lot of things that is not exactly how we wanted to. For 1, she was having issues. For 2, we didn't have our live feed camera. For 3, if you notice that red light that was over the area, the red tint, that is our heat lamp, and we're not used to having those. Of course, I have 4 heat lamps, and we're using 2 right now on the younger litters that we already have, and they have the black bulb, which doesn't show a color. It's just as hot as a heat lamp that's the red one, but it just doesn't show that color because I want either the camera, so there's no, you know, distortion. A lot of things that really made me worry. I don't get super stressed. It's like, okay, this is what happened, this is what it is, let's go ahead and let's get it going, let's get it fixed. But I am so glad that she followed through. You know, I did end up calling the vet back and telling them, for 1, after she had her puppy, when I was on my way back, I called them and told them to cancel my appointment, but keep me on pending just in case she had further issues. And then after she had her 4 and I threw the ultrasound on her, to see if she had any left. It was 3 something, and I did call them again and just told them, hey, thank you so much for being able to work us in, but she did have all of her babies, and we appreciate them. You know, we appreciate their work and all that they do. So thank you guys for watching. I don't know what availability that we might have in this litter. We do have to go through our wait list. We might not have availability. Our little party girl, she might be the one that's available. We'll just have to see. We'll have to see what our wait list says, but give us about a week before we know for sure. If you're not on my wait list and you might be interested, just shoot me an email or a text message and we can chat so I can keep you up to date or let you know, or get a deposit in so you can be kind of next on the list. I'm sorry this wasn't all of the fun, you know, very happy, smooth birthing like we normally have, but this is breeding. It's not always easy. But thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.